Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Welcome everyone back to another episode of Referrals Podcast. This has been a long time coming. One of our most popular guests is on today to share his journey. You are not going to believe some of the things that comes out of this guy's mouth. I cannot wait for you to hear it, but you're going to have to wait. First of all, I just have to say, if you have not joined our Generosity Generation referral community, you're missing out. Not just on great people and fun times, you're missing out on referrals. There were 2 referrals just this morning. Join GenGen.com, JoinGenGen.com, joinGenGen.com. And then I have a special guest or a special gift just for you today. And it's not just our guest. It's also callwithcoach.com. I'm telling you right now, get it scheduled. We are booked for a month. Get it scheduled right now. That is our gift to you as a Referrals Podcast listener. Callwithcoach.com. Go sign up. Tell us about what's going on in your life, and we will strategize and give you a goal for the next 30 days to maximize your referrals. It's a great strategy call. It's 30 minutes. Sometimes they go a little longer. Sometimes they're a little shorter. Callwithcoach.com. Sign up today. Make it happen. I can't wait. We are booked up for 30 days solid. You can be one of the first ones to book the next month. I really appreciate you doing that. I really appreciate you hanging in and listening to Referrals Podcast or watching Referrals Podcast every single week. Today, we have a very, very special guest. He's been a guest on this show 3 times. He is a certified referral trainer. He is the VP of Catalyst. He is a catalyst, and he is also a success in his own right in the network world and also in the networking world, BNI president, and so on and so forth. I could go on and on with his accolades, but he says, get on with it. So we're going to get on with it. Without further ado, let me welcome Thommy Sandvick back to Referrals Podcast. Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Always happy to be here. It is so excited, as always.
We were about due. I think in the 4 years or 3.5 years, it's been about every 7 or 8 months. So we were about due to have Thommy back with us, and he is such a success story. And I'm telling you, it just, when you hear it, you're going to really relate to it, because I think what his journey is, it really shows that if you implement, and if you really put your heart and soul and mind in the right place, the feet will follow and the people will follow. And people follow Thommy to the point where literally just this week he spoke to a large group of networkers, people in networking, and he spoke to them on one of the strategies from 7L and got asked to do even more in the future with them. He did such a great job. So that's who Thommy Sandvick is in a nutshell. So I really want to start in the beginning. So we kind of have 2 worlds. We had before 7L and then during 7L and what's going on in your life now. So tell us a little bit about before 7L and before reading the book and kind of coming into the Generosity Generation journey that is yours.
Yeah, well, I think first thing is I'm from La Crosse, Wisconsin, originally, right? Grew up in the country, actually in Houston, Minnesota, and commuted all the time to Wisconsin. And so just had a pretty like mundane childhood that way. But I always had that spark for entrepreneurship. I always was looking for the next way to make a little extra money that wasn't a job. All the way back to selling. Do you remember Beanie Babies?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Selling Beanie Babies on eBay in 1998. Wasn't even old enough to have an account. And I was selling Beanie Babies on eBay in 8th grade. So it was, I always was looking for something to really make, just a way to make extra money. And over the course of that, really finally.
So hold a second, I got to ask you about that. All right, so why Beanie Babies? Like, so you were buying them and reselling them? Is that what you were doing?
Yeah, basically, just saw an opportunity to to make money and jump on the hot trend, basically. So
Yeah, the fad trend, right? There's a lot of people
exactly.
that do really well with that. And Beanie Babies are making a comeback.
Yeah,
They're recycling and bringing back the Beanie Babies, and now there's like NCAA mascot Beanie Babies, and like a bunch of things that they're doing. So
this 90s nostalgia is winning right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was 80s nostalgia for a while. Now it's 90s nostalgia.
Just shows how old I'm getting, but
what was the biggest lesson that you learned at a young age as a teenager selling Beanie Babies? Like what did you get from that experience that maybe catapulted you to where you are today?
I think just really recognizing the power of business and that you can create opportunities from if you just look at things a little bit different. And I think that's a lot of what carried me forward as I continued to try to find my footing in that realm, in the business realm in general.
Nice. Right? All right. So after Beanie Babies and selling Beanie Babies, what did you do after that?
So fast forward a bit, right? I worked at Disney. Was Disney cast member, went on the Disney college program twice. Actually, loved it so much I came back. And then up to that point, so that's like leaning me more towards about 2010, when I was living in Orlando full time, working at Disney, and really had to make the inevitable choice of, do you do something that you're good at, or do you do what you love? And I in the moment, my choice was IT. So I have a degree in network administration from Western Technical College. So my background was IT, but I really actually wanted to be a DJ at Disney. And I've got something that we're going to come back around to that. Really wanted to be a DJ. I whole story behind that, but it's I love music. I love dancing, as anyone who knows me knows. Just look at my Facebook profile. You can clearly see that.
All right, hold on a second. I got to interrupt you right there, because I have to tell you that Max, when he was like 6 or 7 years old, was invited to Mickey Mouse's Christmas party. So we went down there for his Christmas party, and I'm telling you right now, DJ is a special job, because I will tell you that he had Max hopping all night long, and not only that, but he got to dance with all the Disney girls that were in the elf outfits. I wanted to dance with him. I mean, he's like that lucky dog over there dancing with all those cute girls, and he didn't have any clue. He was just right. But the DJ did such. It's like that is an art form to be a great DJ. And I remember him, like, he wasn't very old. He probably was 20, 21 years old. And I'm telling you, he had so much energy, and he was dancing just like, there's nothing like somebody who loves their job. And it was obvious that this DJ loved his job, which made Max love it even more, which made the elves and Mickey and Minnie were there, made them a lot more energetic. The energy of this party was fantastic. And that was the very first time that Max ever stayed up till midnight. And it was because of the energy. It was just it was a great thing. And then we slept till like noon the next day because we were all tired of dancing. But it was good
to happen. Yeah. It's so true. And now here's what's crazy. So I actually was super shy in high school, right? You would not find me on the dance floor to save my life. I mean, I didn't even go to prom. I played Axis and Allies with my friends in their basement on prom night, right? That was me in high school. So it was a total transformation of finding the love of dance and entertainment and energy that kind of carried through some different experiences in life.
All right, when did the switch take place? I mean, we're talking about bigger things here. You went from someone who didn't go to prom and wasn't even going to go on the dance floor to a love of dancing.
Yeah.
Like where did you come into your own on that? Because a lot of people don't know this, but I know this about you, is that you've got a dream to do a thriller with a large group of friends, and you've actually done it a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, I mean,
That's the thing.
Not only are you dancing, but you're doing a very specific dance and you're leading it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge transformation from
that,
lack of confidence, really, maybe,
yeah,
to a huge confidence. Like, where did that come from?
That came from the Disney College program. I was stationed at the golf courses, which I had no interest in golf. I didn't get to be in the parks. There were no kids, which that was okay with me, but it wasn't really the Disney experience that I wanted. Well, Disney has this complex that used to exist called Pleasure Island, and they had 6 or 7 different dance clubs. Mm-hmm. And so I immediately
adults only, by the way.
Yeah, adults only, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And so I gravitated towards the 70s and 80s club called A-Trax. And one thing led to another, and I ended up picking up a lot of extra hours as a door host at A-Trax. So I would go to work at the golf course, work a full 8 hours, then get paid time and a half to dance all night long. Now I was a door host, but I was like the dancing door host, right? Now that came over time of literally studying how other people were dancing and then finding my own way to do it. And that's actually where like the love of Michael Jackson came, because I was obviously seeing his music, but I just naturally was attracted to it. I think he was pretty good at that with his music.
Yeah, he's
right?
pretty popular.
Pretty popular guy.
Yeah.
So I really learned from there. And that led to the DJ job. When I got back home from the college program, they're like, oh, you were trained at Disney? Like, it didn't matter what I did at Disney. You had Disney on your resume. They're going to hire you. So of course they put me on all the Bridezilla shows. That's another story. But I mean, some crazy fun things. And that just that led to the desire to do Thriller, to learn it as an extra thing to do at these weddings. So I did a lot of weddings over the course of a couple of years. And so that was really the transformation came from being in a very supportive, open environment. Like, I was going through the process of coming out at the same time that I was working at Disney. So there was also that component, just really surrounding yourself with people who think like you think and that are going to support you no matter what happens. And so that's why I'm such a Disney fanatic, because it was a major part of my story.
It's an inflection point in your life, right? Yeah. I mean, there's, the mathematic in me, right? Wants to, you have these arcs in your life, and there's, along your timeline, you kind of arc, and then sometimes there's a down, right? But then at the bottom of the down, or some part in the down, or even at a level, there's this little flip, right? And it's an uptick in your life. Difference maker, a catalytic moment, right? For catalyst, and it's an inflection point. And Disney really was a huge inflection point for you as far as growing who you are, growing confident, and coming out, and all the things that had to be involved with doing that, and all of that, it turned out to be a good thing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So that's
all
amazing.
The way back, right? Yeah. And so fast forward a bit, I get to that point now. I'm back working at Disney again. I've got the degree, and it's like, go do what you love or do what you're good at, because, financial necessity starts to kick in. And so I took the financial necessity route. I went the IT world, right? I went the corporate ladder, and things were good. I got promoted after a year, up to the next level. And then we got bought out by an international corporation. So I then got sent all over the world to implement our software. Went to Sydney, went to Moscow, and went to Mexico. And it was great. But inevitably, the hammer with a buyout, right, is right there. And the hammer, in combination with some other events that happened, made me just realize, I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to jump into entrepreneurship. And so I jumped into a network marketing company, and I just went all in. I'm just an all in kind of guy.
What was your first one that you chose? Right. I mean, honestly, this is a very common story, right? It's very common for someone to feel the power of entrepreneurialism, when they're at a job, job, right? Just over broke. And it's one of those where, So what made you jump from the comfort of a corporate job to the risk taking of an entrepreneur?
Because the main component was just, I didn't want to. So my mom had a brain aneurysm.
Mm.
And statistical miracle. I mean, she not only survived, but survived without any loss of function. And she was like just at the point of wanting to retire. And I just said, like, I'm not going to wait that long to enjoy my life. And I said, I'm gonna figure this out. And that was a big push for why I was like, I'm gonna make it like as an entrepreneur. Now, network marketing is great at selling the dream, of course.
That's right.
And I was drinking the Kool-Aid hard, and there's nothing wrong with that. I was inspired by it, and it definitely made me take a leap along the way. And the thing is, like, what do they teach, right? It's cold call, it's door knock, or not door knock, but it's cold call, it's leads, it's the 3-foot rule, right? Talk to everyone within 3 feet.
Right.
And I just wasn't I wasn't that person yet,
Yeah.
right? That I could strike up conversations. And so I struggled, and I kind of stepped away for a little bit. From that, I decided to build a e-commerce business instead. I don't want to talk to people, like me, of all people. I don't want to talk to people. I can just sell stuff online, not talk to anybody, and I can make money. Fantastic. And what that business gave me was the taste of what the good life can really be. I mean, I had an Amazon business. I'm out on the Mississippi on a Saturday on a yacht having drinks, and I'm making money. Mm-hmm. And I'm going, now this is entrepreneurship. This is good stuff. Unfortunately, I lost that business because I chose to shut it down on nothing but fear. Mm-hmm. Just totally fear. And as things progressed, I ended up having to go back to corporate America, actually back to the company that was going to lay me off. So I quit as a contractor. And I thought, okay, I'm going to right myself now. And I'm just going to get my feet on the ground, and then I'll figure out my next move, get my feet on the ground financially. And gall dang it if that layoff hammer didn't come again. Now, I was a contractor, but I was effectively an employee. I mean, I was the only guy supporting the entire country with their IT. And that layoff hammer came again. And I said, you know what? Something in my life isn't working. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, there's a theme here. And the theme was me, right? And it was the first step that we talk about of self-mastery. And like, I've got to figure out what's going on, because the money's not working, the business isn't working, it's not working. So I started down a path, and I went to different seminars and really started to understand the power of your thoughts create your feelings, which create your actions, which create your results. I really started to do the work. And that's where I really had that kind of first major transformation, where I started to understand that success comes from first love yourself, right? So I did all this work to clear the blocks, to get through the different, everyone's got their stuff, right? I was yelling, screaming at walls, and all kinds of crazy things that I did, right? Because I was just so committed. I was so committed to my personal growth that I slept on the airport floor because I couldn't afford a hotel. And I was there. I was at one of those seminars as a leader. I was there to serve. And yet I was still sleeping on the floor and in the airport. I mean, I was just that committed to this is gonna work. Like, I've got to transform. And so I also came to realize that success comes from giving. I took a course called Prosperity. And it was when I got my first coaching clients, actually from that course, where we were calling, and I learned the power of giving and coming from the place of service. And so all that really shifted in me. So as I continued on the journey, I landed into BNI as a coach. And I understood.
What year was
this? So now we're at 2000, we're at July of 2017.
Okay.
July of 2017. So I'm thinking, okay, I didn't exercise at one point, where I looked back every business I had, I found quick success, but I couldn't sustain it. And when I looked back, I found that the quick success came from the people who knew me, right? It didn't matter if I was joining another coaching company, I actually rebuilt that network marketing business again with people who knew me, went on the trips, did all the fun stuff. So I understood that the power was in people who knew me. And I actually went totally offline and said, I've got to figure this out. But the challenge was, if I know that people do business with people and I've had success with people who know me, how do I meet someone new and build that relationship to the point where they want to work for me or they want to refer me? And that's where I was struggling, even inside BNI, because I was giving and giving and giving. I mean, I created my own event for the purpose of giving to my chapter because I didn't have an easy way to give. So I was like, well, I'm going to host these luncheons, train personal development, and that'll feed into the chapter, both referrals and new members. So I was giving everything I could, but I wasn't getting anything back. And I could not figure it out. I'm like, what is it? They all love me, but I'm going broke.
You had great relationships, right? But you
absolutely.
Seeing the referrals, right?
Yeah, exactly. I had great relationships. And so,
and I remember meeting you like the next summer and like asking you what you did. And like you told me, but even when you were done with the paragraph, I still didn't know what you did. So it's really hard to refer you if we don't know what you're doing, you know? So,
exactly.
So it's interesting. All right. So July of 2018.
Yeah.
Somebody gives you the book. Who gave you 7L?
No, actually, I Googled it.
Okay.
So when I have a problem,
chalk one up for Google.
Yeah. I mean, it's the funny thing is look, the vast, right, 99% of people get 7L from somebody else. But I'm the oddity that way. I was looking for a solution to this problem. Okay, I get it. Someone has to figure this out. I literally Googled, what does it mean to build a relationship, right? And get more referrals. And I came across 7L. Now, here's the kicker. It was already in my Audible. I had actually downloaded it in November of 17, but I wasn't ready for the message yet. Wow. It was too far beyond where my mind was with things, right? But through the journey with BNI and just really being immersed in business, I really understood, like, this is the thing. And the reality is I didn't have the pain point yet. I didn't yet have the great relationships. Once I did, I read the book and I went, oh my God, this is the solution to all my problems. So I really went out and I was still trying to do at this point, I was a healthcare broker and for employees, for small businesses. And what's the method? Door knock, cold call. Well, I took a coworker out and we were door knocking in July in Florida. And I'm going, I tried to do both 7L and the other methods. It just doesn't, it wouldn't work. And I finally realized, like, I've just got to focus on 7L. I literally went into the mindset of, I'm either going to be successful at this or I'm not going to be in business anymore. I will go get a job. Like, I will hang it up. There was no other option. What made you
decide to go down the 7L path instead of the door knocking, cold calling, that approach?
Well, at that point, I had a very strong conviction that I believe in building relationships, building better relationships. And I felt like it was out of integrity for me that was the message of our company, was we're helping you basically appreciate your employees through the power of employee benefits. And I felt out of integrity to walk into a business cold, but turn around and say that we're all about building relationships. Now, I can build that relationship, but it felt out of integrity to me to do that, especially after reading the book, even more so. And so I was just, I can't, it was incongruent. And I realized, looking back, that even when I was full-time coaching before, again, that was a struggle because the methodologies to generate the business were not congruent with the values that I was feeling. And so I was like, I have to focus on this, because like I say, I'm either going to make it work or I'm going to get out of business.
What was your biggest aha from 7L? Like, you read the book and you were just like, okay, there's a lot of answers here. But what was the first strategy that you put into play that worked for you?
The first strategy I used was the guaranteed response email. And the reason for that is that when I did my first call with Coach, I remember sitting in my car and I really wanted the answer to what do I do first. And I was negative $7 in my bank account. I could not buy power notes. I could not buy stamps, but the guaranteed response email was an action that I could take for free.
It's free.
Yeah, exactly. So I sent out the guaranteed response email to, I think I did 46 people. I got 28 responses.
Ooh, you were already influential then.
Yeah. And thank you. And 21 of them were from my previous BNI chapter.
Wow.
That's when I learned the power of BNI.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Chalk one up for BNI, right?
Absolutely.
And your relationship building and your giving nature during that time.
Yeah.
Very cool. So So what'd you do with the responses, right? What happened with the 21?
Yeah. So
the 28 for that matter.
Yeah. So I talked to them and I just, a lot of it came from, a lot of the conversations I had were really touch points with those BNI people, because I had kind of been squeezed out of the first BNI chapter that I was in. And so those conversations, more than anything, showed me the support that I had, that people didn't like what went down. And so I just was calling to see how I can help. I mean, I basically did GenGen, right? Just like Rick does in the book of, hey, I'm just calling to see how I can help. And was reconnecting. And then from those conversations, then showing up at a networking event shortly after, I had the opportunity to bring on one of those people as a client for employee benefits.
Chalk one up for the GR email, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
And she became my very first true bona fide ambassador.
Oh, wow.
That all happened in the span of 2 months.
Yeah, that's fantastic. All right, so you're kind of sold on the 7L book and the systems. You got a quick win, which doesn't always happen, but in this case it did. And so you got a quick win. How did you take your education to the next level within the 7L system and the generosity generation?
Yeah, well, the first thing is I signed up for Catalyst in November of 18. Did not know how I was going to pay for anything beyond month 1, but I was like, I'll figure it out. Nice. And it was a great timing, because you go into holidays and there's a little bit, business slows down. There's a little bit more time to absorb. So I signed up for Catalyst, and if I was in the shower, I was listening to replays. If I was in the car, I was listening to replays. If I'm cleaning the house, I'm listening to replays. I mean, and that was when it was like, it wasn't as easy as it is now with Kajabi and the mobile tools that we have. It was like go-to webinar replays. I mean, that's a little more tough on the phone, right? And
scary times.
Yeah, scary times, right?
Now here's the deal. You're in Florida, right?
Yeah.
At the time. So was that, I just wonder if were you a Catalyst member when the hurricane hit and we gave the 2 months for free for all the Florida coaching clients? I just wonder, because that would have made your second and third month a lot easier to afford.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I will tell you, I've heard stories of like people still to this day, and that was like 4 years ago. I mean, it's a long time ago, and they still to this day like express their appreciation for us giving them. I mean, because they had, some people had $10 million on the books that didn't close because there wasn't a house to close on.
Yeah.
So their income was delayed by so much, and the least we could do was give them a break on Catalyst for a few months. So it would have been interesting if that would have been your like second, third, and fourth months. So.
Yeah. It was. I still don't legit remember how it all worked out, but I guess I just believe so much in investing in yourself and believing in yourself, and so I was just, I'm always that guy, sometimes to a fault, but I'm always that guy that's going to invest when I see something that I really believe in.
Yeah. So what was your biggest aha or strategy implemented from Catalyst? What was the thing in Catalyst that really kind of clicked for you?
It was actually what really, really helped me was the call structure that you taught in Catalyst. What's the hardest thing to picking up the phone is, what do I say? It's the open, right? And so it was the opening that made it easier to talk to people ultimately, and that, and really understanding the grading system and the database. And I spent all of Thanksgiving weekend that year putting together my database, right? Actually taking all the business cards and putting them into an Excel file. And along the way, now I would hire someone to do that, but it's like,
the who is not you.
Yeah, the who is not you, exactly.
You do listen to the teachers,
once in a while.
So all right, so you're doing Catalyst. What was the next class on your journey? What was the
Event
next?
Mastery?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this would have been 2019.
Yeah. So December of 18, the cars went into repossession. Yeah. And we literally went and hid. We literally went and hid the cars for a night so we could figure out how we were going to get the money pay for the 2 cars being 3 months behind. And we, still don't, thank you, Mom. That's what I have to say for that. And you did a webinar and you offered event mastery. And I was like, now remember, I had been running events. I knew that events worked, but I struggled with, how do you put the right people in the room? Because I was getting I'd run an event and it was like 9 realtors, 3 financial planners, and 2 insurance people. And they all started their business this year. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, this isn't really going that many people the same, right? And so it was kind of, so I knew that part, right? And then I struggled with, I had been doing lunch and learns. But again, I felt like I was bait and switching, because it's like, you can come, well, I gave you lunch, so I'm earning the right to give you a 25-minute presentation. Right, exactly, right? Yeah. So I just really always struggled with that. And so watching the webinar and the components, I'm like, this makes total sense to me. So I did event mastery in January of 19. First time it was offered, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. And so I did that. Now in the middle of event mastery, I moved. And that's really important, because it's like, I didn't do at least 2 or 3 of those overall touch points. I didn't do, but I did enough, right? I just made it work, whatever little bit that I could.
That's the beauty of event mastery, right?
Yeah.
5 of the weeks is on invitations. And you know what? If you miss a week or 2, you'll still be all right. So that's
so true. And they just get better next time, which is what I did. So we did the event, and then in addition to doing the event, I really always go back to, like, what were the core strategies for one-on-one that I was doing. I came out of the gate right away and I did the networking stack. That made so much sense to me. And I just made a goal to do 4 every week. Every week I was doing 4 one-to-ones. I didn't care who it was.
There might be some people who aren't familiar with 7L, right? So explain the networking stack to them. Yeah.
So the networking stack is basically picking one time in your week that you're going to do one-on-ones with people, and you invite them to a specific time and stack them back to back. So it's efficient for you, but also if you start to get strategic with it, you allow people to meet each other, which also helps everybody at the end of the day. And then the next level is really getting the venue on board and creating the home court advantage, the experience of the whole thing. But I wasn't that far down the road yet. So, and I think that's an important point too, is like, you don't have to execute everything at 100%. Right. Just take the first step. That's where you are, and you'll continue to grow and gain that confidence in how you go about doing things. I had plenty of time. I mean, I wasn't busy, I mean, aside from moving, but I had plenty of time to meet whenever I wanted to, but I didn't. I was like, nope, because that's what busy people would only meet this time, right? Successful people would do it this way. So I'm going to do that first, right? Be, do, have. So I implemented that, and I implemented the follow-ups of sending a handwritten note. Mm-hmm. And that was like that was the mode of operation. Network, one-to-one, send a power note. Just do that. That's all I did, as at the core, right? So I had that. And then, of course, all those people I'd been doing one-on-ones with, I'm inviting to the events that I was going to be having. So I did my first event it was an I Love You Latte, February of 19, and had 23 people there. And now I almost wear it as a badge of honor. I didn't get any referrals. Mm-hmm. Because I was B2B, I was business to business. It's a different ask to be able to get those referrals. But the sponsors got 22 referrals. Wow. And more than anything, it showed me that I could put people in the room. Mm-hmm. And that made me go, all right, this is going to work. Like, I just got to fine tune it, but it's going to work. I bet
you didn't have any problem getting sponsors for your next event.
No problem at all. No problem at all. And that's a whole other thing was like I had no money to do the event. I did not have any money. I was thankful I partnered with Melissa Katamis, and her company offered a program that effectively gave me a $250 gift card. And that was my budget. And I was only providing the coffee, no alcohol, because I had to stick in that budget. There was just no other option. Yeah. And so I did but that first event really showed me the power that this can work, ultimately. And so I now after that first event, I was like, now what? Right? So it's like, I'm looking at our YAP plans, the yearly appreciation plan, and I'm going, okay, well, the next event isn't April, May, June, depending on when I want to do it. So what do I do in between? So I signed up for coaching and it was with Neil, actually. It was with Neil Smith. And, basically between my first and second event, I called everybody. And I just said, how can I help? I slide dialed, so I went straight to voicemail. Yep. I left a guaranteed response voicemail. Yep. And when they called me back, I just said, thanks for returning my call. I'm just calling to see how I can help. What's a good referral for you? And I did 150 GenGen calls. I started in mid-March, and I set my goal to be done with those calls by May 1st with the intention to run an event in mid-June. Mm-hmm. So I was very strategic to build the energy, build the deposit, and then event, right? And then start inviting to the event in May of 19.
Right.
So I did that. And
did that lead to income? Like, did the calls
good
lead
question.
they called you back, you were looking to
help. Yeah.
Usually that leads to some type of a conversation, hopefully a referral conversation, right?
Yeah, it definitely, it did actually, because along with doing those calls, so I had a contact with an individual via that, the GenGen calls. I also started sending success stories to the database. And so I was doing the generosity, but then I was communicating how I'm helping people. That one success story sent by email led to a one-to-one, led to the event, led to a partnership that is still in place today that I still get income from today.
That's awesome.
So that was like, I'm always trumpeting success stories because you never know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So,
and now you're giving one. Now you are in the middle of one.
Yeah, exactly.
How cool is that?
It's.
When did you become a CRT then? All right, so you had your June event, right? It was Nacho Average Happy Hour. It was a smashing success.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that's when you got on our radar in a big way, right? Was your leadership through the Nacho Average Happy Hour. And when did you get into CRT?
So I was CRT at Referral Mastery Summit in 2019.
Okay, so that September. And then, so CRT, September, October, And then in
2020.
so 2020, March 13th, we get a lockdown. March 20th, we start doing the daily dose.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And were you a guest on the daily dose?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Forgotten Strategy, episode 95.
Okay. And I'm sorry. I don't remember that.
You had so many.
We have selective memory, and like I like trying to forget 2020, just the whole year.
Yeah.
So, okay, very cool.
Yeah.
And then in the winter of, so then you spoke at RMS 2020 and knocked it out of the park. One of the best, one of the top 5 out of all of them. And then you started with us in October, November?
Yeah, we started talking in November, and then we came out of the gate with
Spark, baby.
Exactly. We came out in December of 2020.
Yeah.
December 16th, 2020.
Yeah, and just so you know, between me and you, Spark was launched just in case it really bombed. And it wasn't associated with anything we had. So luckily, it wasn't A, accelerate, wasn't B, boost, it wasn't C, catalyst, and it wasn't D, diamond, right? So it's like, it's Spark. It's way down here. If you know, we could change the alphabet by the time. Well, luckily, it went really well. The successes were really well. I mean, the success stories that have come out of Spark have been, fantastic, and they still applaud and love on you, and they're some of your biggest ambassadors to this day are some of the first signups in Spark, and then you took over Catalyst, right? And the Catalyst people are winning. For those of you that don't know, Catalyst is our group coaching product, and Catalyst is an acronym for Create Authentic Transformation and Launch Your Success Today, and it has a little asterisk at the end for the Spark, or for the Catalyst infusion, if you will, but it's create authentic transformation, and what I love about it is, in the 7L system, is that it's not my system, and it's not Tommy's system, it's your system. You are able to put your personal stamp and branding and customization onto the entire 7L system in a way that's really cool. I mean, nobody had done a Nacho Average Happy Hour until Thommy had done the Nacho Average Happy Hour, and it was uniquely him. But it also followed the system of the Event Mastery system, and so therefore it was a success. So it was his event, his idea, his people, his way, and yet it works if you run the system. And fast forward to today, and I mean, literally this week, now you're speaking for Referco, and you went out and spoke this week to a large networking group. All I heard was good things. You spoke here. I mean, you talk about something from 7L that's so basic as the 7 steps to a power note, and you spoke on that, and it was a huge success. It's just like, I mean, that concept is concept of a handwritten note is as old as paper and pen. Yeah. But the concept of the power note is 20 years old, and here we are. It's still uber applicable today, and maybe even was kind of the best marketing ever during COVID.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say, summarize it, right? Summarize your 7L journey. And maybe give us a parting words of wisdom, something that you've learned through the process that is just a big aha for you, or confirmed something that you were already congruent with.
Well, I think the summary of it is, it's really just, you gotta believe. That's I think and maybe that's the parting words of wisdom too. When I started, the podcast had just come out, and as I was learning and going through the journey, I'm hearing these episodes come out all the way back from the beginning. And I think that was so critical to the process. And, the more now that I've leaned in and even more importantly, see other people doing it, it's so incredibly rewarding because it truly is something where the more you teach it and the more that people find success with it and the more they're attracted to it, the more the prosperity truly spreads.
Mm-hmm.
When we're starting in Orlando, especially in my circle, like we're seeing it. Our BNI chapter is 7L at the core now. And I think that I'm just seeing such amazing things. It's who you are. That's the summary, right? It's who you are. People refer who you are. And the more that you lean into doing business this way, the more they want to refer you. Mm-hmm. And then it's just a matter of the referral conversation of how to do that, right? But that's the beauty of the whole thing, is everything is based on other people wanting to help you and then giving you the way to communicate how they can do it. And that, I think that's the underlying, probably the biggest aha to looking at the whole system is that component. Yeah. I think along the way. And obviously the transformation, I say a lot of the time, some of my posts on Facebook about like, you can't fail in the system because the system is based on love, generosity, and appreciation. It's not just get a referral. It's generating referrals with the right values and it's building community. You know, we never did answer that question in the, like, what was the aha from the book? When I first read it, it was the concept of building your army of ambassadors. Mm-hmm. And that is just so a different way to look at referral generation. It's not just a sphere. It's an army of people who speak highly of you, which is extremely important, and refer you willingly. And that speak highly of you part may be the greatest underappreciated gift of thing. We get so focused on the act, but that speak highly does so much for your influence in a room of people. And if you can go into a room of people, I mean, gosh, if you go to a networking event and you've got 20 ambassadors there, even if they have not referred you, if you know they're going to look for the right connection and speak highly of you in that connection, that is a level of business that is so goddamn fun at the end of the day. I mean, blows every other method out of the water. And I think that's most recently, that's definitely been kind of the part of the journey that I think I'm on, or that I'm at, is that amazing gift every time that happens.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. There's nothing like it.
I'm gonna start crying now.
Yeah, none of that.
So.
Yeah, yeah. So you're right. I mean, what is it for? It's to build an army of ambassadors who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, right? And it's one of those where, to do that, it's you need to speak highly of others and refer them willingly, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. It's like, that's the best way to grow it, and it's one of those where. I think that's what people are still learning about 7L and the 7L system is everybody thinks it's going from transactional to relational in your business approach, right? And it's not. It's actually going beyond relational. It's going from transactional through relational to transformational, right? And we want to transform the people who come in touch with us. Mm-hmm. And we want to transform them from client, maybe whatever customer, to a raving fan ambassador, but we also want to deliver so much value to their life, right? I mean, we need to transform them, not just transact and not just build a relationship. That there's so many people that are really good at being nice until they get paid, right? I mean, that, and they say they're relational, but no, relationship is a value exchange forever. And if there's no value being exchanged, there's no relationship. So what's the value that you're delivering post-transaction, post-closing, post whatever it is? And that's the power of the tribe of trust, right? That's the power of the YAPs and everything that we do, the communication plan. And then, of course, your own personal growth plan, right, under self-mastery. And then you've got communication plan under relationship mastery, and you've got your yearly appreciation plan, your yearly ambassador program underneath event mastery. And it's like, they all work hand in hand, and you have plenty of time for all of them if you'll just believe and go all in. And that's your story. right?
All
I mean,
in.
if you believe and go all in and implement. And, the other thing that this is probably the first for even some of our generosity generation brethren and sisterin, if that's a word, to know is you're going to run a book club for our Referral Mastery Academy ambassador. So if you're already in Referral Mastery Academy, you're getting part of this book club for no cost to you, right? So it's basically free if you're an RMA. And if you are not in Referral Mastery Academy, then it's $197, which is a fantastic value for a 4-week book club, where Thommy is diving deep into the 100 plus referral generating strategies in 7L. Or you can join Referral Mastery Academy and get it for $99. So you can check that out at referralmasteryacademy.com. I encourage you to do that. For those of you that are maybe newer to all this, go to joingengen.com and join our generosity generation. And of course, I offered this to today's podcast listeners only, and that is to go with callwithcoach.com and get yourself signed up for a free strategic coaching call that's going to help you maximize this year. How do you maximize this year? Not last year, not 2 years ago, not next year. Like, how do you master the next 3 months so that you don't get 2 cars repossessed? You don't have to go to your mom for money. You don't have to put education on a credit card and hope, right? It's like we're gonna show you how to reach health, wealth, and happiness mastery and go to the next level. So, Thommy, once again, dude, I love our conversations. We have conversations every Tuesday as part of what we do. And we've always thought, oh my gosh, if somebody would have just been a fly on the wall for this conversation. So we thought we would bring that to everybody today. And I appreciate you doing that. And
thank you.
As always, being a guest of Referrals Podcast.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, as always, and for your leadership, and God dang it for founding all of this. I mean, I am so glad that you flatlined for 37 seconds.
You're so glad I died.
I'm so glad you died, man.
I see you praying at night. Thank you, God, for killing Michael Maher. And what?
But no. So thank you for bringing this to the world and giving
almost
people,
died.
Yeah.
December 18th, 2007, almost all went away. So man. I'm glad it didn't. Yeah. And I'm glad I've had the chance to explain it and expand on it and help a lot of people with it. And, I'm glad you're part of my life and part of what we do. And you're helping a ton of people with it as well, which is awesome. So,
yeah, awesome. Well, thank you.
Awesome, listeners, viewers. Thank you so much for tuning into Referrals Podcast today. Cannot wait for the next episode. It's going to blow you away. Before you check into that, make sure you check into referralmasteryacademy.com. Spell it out. Put the .com on the end. Go check it out. You're able to take all of our courses, all of our 30-day challenges for absolutely free if you're a member of the Referral Mastery Academy. Go check it out. One more, referralmasteryacademy.com. And then also, we'd love to have you as part of our referral community at joingengen.com. We'll see you in there. We'll see you next time. Have a great day. Love you all. Have a great one.